Hello, welcome to Spirit of Life. My name is Geraldine Lee, your host, and our guest is Greg Burns. He's a business analyst and an accountant, but now he's the character of Jesus in the musical Mary Magdalene. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Geraldine.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here. I never thought I'd be here, facing you here. Yeah.
It's great to have you, and I'd like to know more about how you had your faith journey.
Okay, well, if we start in the beginning, I was born in Ireland, you can tell from my accent, and born into a Catholic family. My mother in particular was very devout, and my father, but in a more quiet way. My dad was a policeman, my mum was a teacher, so they were both kind of public figures.
Serving people.
Serving people, yeah. And in those days, the Catholic Church ran most of the schools, so all the teachers had a very strong faith and religious background. And so I was the eldest of 5 children, and we were all brought up regular mass and feast days, and we went on pilgrimages and things like that. Usually to Our Lady of Knock in the west of Ireland, where Our Lady appeared in the late 19th century. And like most people, like Ireland culturally changed. It's very different Ireland now, and I was affected by that. The economy wasn't very good, so I emigrated to London, and I'd been at home all my life at university, so I was quite sheltered. London, I was exposed to making decisions about your faith, for the first time, because, you inherit a lot of things, and then I had to really think for myself, question things. And I did question things, and I was especially upset by some priests that I knew, and, people I knew that were abused, and all that kind of scandal that happened. So I drifted away, but I always believed in God. I think the foundations were always there. But I experimented going to other churches. But I always came back to my church because I just felt more at home. And also it was a community in London, like fellow Irish people, so it was easier to meet people like that. So I got involved in singing in folk groups and in the church as well. And then I did that was my first entry into social work. So I worked at a place called Emmaus House in West London. Yeah. And it was a bit like what you do. So it was like kitchens, like on Sunday after Mass, we just provide meals for people. Wow. But it wasn't as much a company, like it was a bit different to Neighbour had a house in Church Road in Burwood, off Warrigal Road. It was more just providing food, like to anybody. But I met my Australian wife there, and she's not very religious at all. She's a Protestant background. And we got married in a Catholic church, and we always decided that if we were blessed with children, that they would be brought up as Catholic. So when we came to Australia then, that was 1997, nearly 30 years ago.
Wow.
The children were baptized. My eldest, Laura, and then she was followed by Amy 3 years after that, and then Timmy, who's the youngest. He's 17, still at home. Lovely. And the fact that they were going to be brought up as Catholics and baptized brought me back again to my church and questioning, because I felt responsible. And actually, this is strange, but at the prodding of my wife, who was not very religious, but came along to some of the services initially. And I think she saw the positive aspects of like a faith-based teaching. If she's listening or watching, she might criticize or say something different. But she's a very good person, and sometimes she shocks me with her example, and I feel like a hypocrite in comparison. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I find. So when I came here, the parish I'm in Mount Waverley, I shouldn't say too much negative about it, but it's a very old parish. And I've noticed that a lot of the kids who go to Catholic school just don't go to Mass, and their parents don't go to Mass. They just go for communion and like ceremonies and things. and Christmas and Easter. And it's the same when I go back to Ireland now as well. So I started going to Mass in St. Benedict's because I heard such good word about it. And it's a very vibrant community, multicultural, lots of young people, young families. And what I particularly liked about it was all the different sort of missions they have, like, you know, for whatever your strength or you feel that you might be able to help in society or growing people in faith. There's a role there for everybody.
I believe you're involved in the soup kitchen on
so,
Mondays.
Initially they said, "Oh, you've played music, or do you want to join our music group?" And I said, "Oh, well, actually, I'm getting old, and I think that'd be for younger people. I think maybe I'd be better." I was curious. Cassius, was the mentor in this thing, and he started off this group only about 6 months before I joined. And so he interviewed me. He said, "Yeah, I think you could come along." And once I get talking to people like these, I'm a bit of a chatterbox, and I've really enjoyed it because I initially realized how privileged I was with my background, but then I realized that some of these people are really strong characters, and so you become vulnerable when you're exposing yourself to people, and then barriers are broken down, and people have different faiths or no faiths, but we veer it towards like Jesus and, you know, the Christian ideals. And sometimes, you know, you want God to work straight away and he doesn't. Sometimes little miracles happen. Sometimes nothing happens, but you still develop friendships with people.
So you'll provide regular meals and
regular meals,
and you get involved with their lives.
That's right.
Support them.
So but some people now have become friends outside of the, like just meeting on Mondays, and encouraging them. Some people you feel you haven't got them in a spiritual sense. But they're open, and you never know how you impact your people.
I'd love to hear more, but we need to go for a break.
All right, Geraldine. Okay.
You've been watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us and we'll be back after the break. Hello, welcome back to Spirit of Life. My name is Geraldine Lee, your host, and our guest is Greg Burns. He's an actor and a singer, and he's currently playing the part of Jesus in the musical Mary Magdalene. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Geraldine.
So you've taken a very significant role as Jesus, but it's been a journey. How did you get involved in musical theatre?
It has, and who would believe at this age, like a stage of my life, I'm playing Jesus. A lot of people who are watching are probably saying, he's a bit old, but hopefully with dye and wigs and all, I can look the part. Well, I got into it through, we mentioned before, working with the soup kitchens on the Monday. And I met you at a barbecue or something, and we just talked. I think you had me in mind for another role. And I just mentioned that, I sing casually, have never acted, but curious about it. And so it was you really who, introduced me to it. It's very uncool at my age for my children, like as an example, because I mentioned before, like my faith journey, helping people like socially and going and moving from my local church to St. Ben's. One of the main impetus for that was to influence my children, to try and encourage them to go, because it was quite stale at the other mass for them, and there were no young people going. I'm not sure if I've fully succeeded, but I also felt I did a lot of research and do a lot of reading and listen to podcasts on religious leaders, and but I felt it's time to actually put it more into action, and maybe show better example, because only God and your immediate family know all how imperfect you are, and they see you losing your temper and being hypocritical, you say one thing and do another. Probably work colleagues as well have seen that sometimes, but it's a real effort to try and, you know, follow what you believe and put it into action. And so, but acting is a bit like that as well, because you take on a role. And I mean, the role that I've been offered and I'm going to play here is like the ultimate role, Jesus, like a once in a lifetime opportunity. But then how could you ever play somebody who is man and God? So I do my best, but the script is so good. The quotes and the songs are so meaningful, like the quotes from scriptures, and actually the dialogue is so meaningful that it's inspiring. Do you know what I mean? But I have to remember sometimes this is the way, because he's God, this is the way Jesus would act. But also he's very human, so he has to act this way. And it is a difficult balance, because we don't know the mind of God. We never will until we die, maybe. Like, or will we ever? Even then, it's a mystery. But that's drama. Drama is a mystery as well. Like how
That's
people
right.
interact, and you know, the way some people just lift and become different people, and the way we encourage. Like that's the beautiful thing about this drama group as well. Like, you know, all the different backgrounds and aptitudes and vulnerabilities all exposed, but we all support each other, and we create a mysterious magic that's greater than some of the individual parts. Do you know what I mean? So
that's true. You know, in the theatre group, there's single mothers, they're unemployed, there's professionals, there's nurses, even some people who have been doctors in the theatre group. We take all people from all different, those who are struggling with disability, mental health and things like that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, but no, you're an asset to have in the theatre group.
Well, I'm just so privileged, and I feel as well that the fact that I started helping people who are vulnerable, it's just amazing how the timing of it. It's like God is speaking to me, because my own daughter had a bad year. We had a tough year this year, and I feel like I've carried a little cross this year. And through prayer and support, please God, things are improving. But we're all on a journey. Who can tell? Like, you know, we don't know what God has in store for us. But I do feel spoken to me this year in particular. And by acting as Jesus, it's just, it's a challenge, but it's such a beautiful thing to be able to do. And I hope I can influence people and inspire people by the performance. I hope we all can, because even in rehearsal, as you know, it's very, very moving, and the songs have brought people to tears, and there are people coming back to their faith as well, which is just what we want this to do. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, and how do you feel that Jesus interacting with Mary Magdalene? What is that message that you see in Mary Magdalene and the relationship with Mary Magdalene and Jesus?
Well, we're all sinners, we're all imperfect, and Mary Magdalene probably more dramatically so. We've used a bit of poetic license for her, like we say she's part of the Martha and Lazarus and the Bethany family, as well as from Magdala. But the fact that she was forgiven for, like, you know, and changed her ways when she met Jesus. In the story, she's sort of infatuated with this Jesus character, which is a bit embarrassing for me, because the ladies who are playing Mary Magdalene are very young, so I'm more a grandfatherly role. But Jesus obviously had charisma and he influenced people as a man, but then she saw more than that, saw the miracles and saw how he related to people and how he brought people on his way and you know, his message. So the fact that she was forgiven for pretty bad behavior, like everybody can be forgiven, and people shouldn't lose heart. They might feel, oh, I'm in a bad situation, I've done some terrible things, but we can all change, and Jesus is there to help you. Just ask his help, and you know, and ask the support in practical terms as well of people like this group. There are always people out to help people and pray for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We'll go for a break now.
All right, Geraldine.
You've been watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us and we'll be back after the break. Hello. Welcome back to Spirit of Life. My name is Geraldine Lee, your host, and our guest is Greg Burns. He's an actor and singer, and he also is the performer in the musical Mary Magdalene. Hello.
Hi, Geraldine.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You were talking about being in the musical. Can you tell us like the journey of being an actor in the musical theatre?
Well, there's a lot of rehearsal and choreography, learning your lines, the songs in particular. Some of the songs have a bit of harmony and descants, and it's you have to be quite disciplined to learn during the week. Some of the actors are doing what they call block scenes, so their particular roles, they're going to each other's houses and your house, and reenacting and coming up with the best, when you should face the audience, where you should be standing, and and all try and make it more natural. So it's a challenge, but it's fun though as well.
Yeah, it's a really enjoyable experience for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I believe that the theatre group you're involved with also have outreaches.
They do, yeah. They support soup kitchens, and also the members, they visit public housing and supply bread and company and just advice with people with issues. So it's not just drama. But we're hoping that's how we reach people, because it's entertaining.
I believe that some people in the theatre group have disabilities.
Absolutely, yeah. People with mental health issues, confidence issues, broken relationships, like tragedy in their lives, recovering from addictions, and they all find a home in the theatre, and you can see how they're so enthusiastic and love performing and love being in that environment. So it's doing everybody good, and it's doing us when we see how they interact with us, and it lifts your soul. It's just we look forward to rehearsal, because it's just such a fun experience, and it lifts people's self-esteem as well.
Yeah, I've seen theatre which is very polished and very professional, and sometimes it lacks that feeling of community spirit and that synergy you get from, not to criticize professionals.
Yeah, I agree. This is, we're a big family, really. We don't, not to say that everything's in harmony, and we have our moments where people lose tempers and there are little disagreements, but it's all with an ultimate goal of everyone trying to do their best. So in saying that, there are some polished performers who have got lots of good experience in previous shows. I think people will be astounded by some of the voices and the quality of the music as well. There's something for everybody in this show. Even Mary Magdalene herself, feminists might say, "Oh, she's such a strong woman." Like Jesus, she was really an apostle, the apostle of the apostles, and her story of redemption when everything seemed lost, is just, everybody can relate to it. So I think if you go to this show, you will be entertained. It'll make you think. Whether you've got a faith or haven't got a faith, you will be moved. whether you're a Christian or in another denomination or other religion or faith. It's a universal story, and the themes everybody can relate to in their lives. So
I believe there's a bit of comedy too.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. And sometimes some of the comedy is made up as we're rehearsing. We just realize, if a person said it this way, or you know, and then you feel, oh, would Jesus really have said that? But I'm sure he joked with the apostles as well, and you know, we have some, like the Romans and the Pharisees. It's easy to actually pick on them because they're obviously the bad guys, but you know, the way they come across can be quite funny as well, in an ironic way. Like, you know, if somebody is trying to condemn somebody, and you can see they're such a hypocrite, like, you know, so things like that.
Yeah. And what about, is there lighting, sound, costumes in a big theatre?
Absolutely. So if you're not acting or on the stage, people behind the scenes are just as busy and is just as key a role, like whether that's marketing people, like sending out flyers and publishing things. We've got people making the sets, the designers, the costumes, sewing things. People are going around like looking for appropriate items that would have been, they'd imagine would have been around that in that time. You know?
And do they welcome more members? And
we're open to as many people as possible who, if you feel that you could, you know, contribute, or you know, there's an opportunity for, no matter what your state of life or no matter what your age. Look at me, like playing Jesus, like, you know.
I believe you're going to have a wig and color your beard, and
that's right,
and do a bit of take the wrinkles off, and
that's, well, I don't know how to do that, but anyway.
Oh yes, makeup is amazing.
Yeah.
And do you if they want to be involved, do they have? If you got a website?
Yes. If people are interested in joining or coming to the show, it's www.cogtheatre.org, and there's a link there as well to the.
Maybe you could spell it out a bit. The Cog Theatre, that would help the audience.
Yeah, so it's COG Theatre, THEATRE, all one word, .org.
Great, fantastic, and tell us when, you know, the shows are. So maybe I'll go along.
So not too far away now, the middle of next month. So the first show, it opens on Friday the 13th. I hope that's a good Friday for not a good luck omen. And that's at 7 o'clock at the Q Renaissance Theatre. And then we have two shows on the Saturday at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. And then the one on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock as well. So 4 shows, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to see you, and I wish you all the best, and God bless you. We've come to the end of our show.
Thanks, Geraldine, and we'll see you around
all the best.
There as well. Okay, thank you.
You've been watching Spirit of Life. Join us again next week. Goodbye, and God bless you.
Bring it to birth and blow where you will. Blow, blow, blow till I be but breath of the Spirit.